Ukrainian forces finally tightened the Russian salient northwest of Lyman by attacking the positions that protect its connection to the rest of the front. A major Ukrainian breakthrough developed around Novoselivka, where troops pushed into Shandryholove and Derylove, placing the Russian positions around Yarova under direct threat from the flank. Russian forces answered by advancing north of Serednye toward Karpivka, slightly widening the neck of the salient and temporarily improving the connection to the forward grouping. That move gave Russia more space to sustain the position, but Ukrainian forces were already threatening the corridor behind Yarova that connected the forward troops to the rest of the front. If Ukrainian forces continue expanding around Shandryholove and Derylove, the Russian troops deeper inside the salient will have fewer secure routes for reinforcement, resupply, and withdrawal. The Russian advance north of Lyman is now developing into a trap, with the troops at the front increasingly dependent on a corridor that Ukrainian forces are attacking from both sides. The danger around the salient is now serious enough that even Russian analysts are sounding the alarm. Russian analysts have warned that the northern flank around Lyman is becoming increasingly dangerous and could create major problems for the Russian grouping. They also acknowledge that the battlefield has become difficult to control, as dispersed frontline positions, extensive forests, and the movement of small groups make it harder to establish firm control across the area. As a result, Russian commanders struggle to determine which positions remain secure and where Ukrainian troops may already be threatening routes behind the line. Concern also extends beyond the troops holding the bulge itself, with problems around Lyman seen as a threat to Russian forces operating in neighboring sectors. Despite these warnings, Russian command has continued sending more troops toward Yarova, deeper inside the threatened salient, instead of reinforcing the areas around Kolodyazy and Shandryholove, where Ukrainian forces are pressing against the neck of the position. This means every additional unit sent toward Yarova becomes dependent on a corridor that Ukraine is already trying to constrict. At the same time, Ukrainian pressure on the routes towards Serednye and Yarova intensified, reducing the area Russian forces could safely maintain deeper inside the salient. Russian troops were pushed out of or withdrew from Yarova, and infiltration routes toward Pronged were also abandoned. These withdrawals show that the Russian response has failed to secure the forward positions it was trying to reinforce, while Ukraine continues attacking the access that keeps the salient viable. If Ukrainian forces collapse the salient, Russia would face a choice between withdrawing from a much larger area northwest of Lyman or trying to hold increasingly isolated positions under growing encirclement risk. Either outcome could turn the problem around Yarova into a wider crisis across the northern approach to the city. A Russian withdrawal from the salient would remove the forward presence around Yarova and Serednye and shorten the line Ukraine has to contain north of the city. Ukrainian forces are already improving their position inside Lyman itself, where clearing operations have retaken the hospital and reduced Russian control in the urban area. South of the city, Ukrainian troops have also expanded from Serednye toward Yarova, adding pressure on the approaches around Lyman. Together, these developments would leave Russia operating from a less favorable position across several approaches to Lyman at once. Russian analysts are already warning that serious problems in the Lyman sector could create difficulties on neighboring axes. A collapse of the salient could add to that pressure by forcing Russia to commit manpower and resources to stabilizing a new defensive line.
The Colombian volunteers in the Ukrainian army launched a well-planned and decisive attack across the border to put an important position under their control. By doing so, they are not only establishing control in the area, but also sabotaging Russian offensive efforts into Sumy Oblast. Recently, Ukrainian units have initiated precise offensive operations in the border region near the Russian village of Novi Put, strategically situated between Tyotkino and the areas where Russia has infiltrated Sumy Oblast. The purpose of these targeted raids is clear: to prevent Russia from launching additional offensives, which would not only alleviate the Ukrainian pressure on Tyotkino, but also threaten Sumy's defenses from the north. Ukraine's tactical approach in this critical area consists of a threefold strategy. Firstly, their goal is to systematically reduce Russian manpower, weakening the enemy's frontline strength. Secondly, they aim to neutralize Russian artillery, depriving ground troops of crucial fire support. Lastly, Ukraine is conducting surgical operations that, though seemingly small in scale, yield strategic results far exceeding their immediate battlefield significance. In line with this strategy, Ukrainian drones recently identified and coordinated a precision airstrike against a Russian troop deployment area deep in Kursk Oblast. Released footage and prior intelligence confirmed the destruction of a Russian airborne company-sized formation. By specifically targeting such elite units, Ukraine seeks to disrupt Russian capabilities that provide coordination and rapid response support, severely diminishing Russia's ability to launch cohesive, offensive, or defensive operations. Complementing this, Ukrainian forces have intensified efforts to dismantle Russian artillery. Notably, Ukrainian drones successfully targeted a Russian 152mm self-propelled artillery system, the 2S-43 Malva, with a precision-guided Darts kamikaze drone. Eliminating such artillery pieces weakens the enemy's firepower, leaving Russian ground troops exposed and vulnerable to Ukrainian raids, and accelerates Russia's attrition. Most remarkable, however, was the recent direct action assault involving Colombian volunteers serving within Ukrainian units. These volunteers, with extensive combat experience and training in the Colombian armed forces, were instrumental in clearing Russian forces entrenched within a small forested area near the border. Despite its modest size, this wooded patch, surrounded by open fields, offers significant tactical advantages, granting control over the surrounding territory to whoever holds it. The assault unfolded with meticulous coordination. Ukrainian drone operators provided real-time aerial surveillance, directing the Colombian unit to Russian defensive trenches and bunkers concealed within the forest. Leveraging their expertise in stealth infiltration, the Colombian soldiers approached unnoticed, initiating close-quarters combat. Suppressing Russian defenders within their bunkers, the Colombians methodically cleared each position using grenades and explosives, finally securing the main trenches after an intense battle. Following this decisive victory, the Colombian-Ukrainian force proudly displayed captured Russian equipment, underscoring their success. This position's tactical value is significant. Its defensive potential is enhanced by interconnected tree lines and nearby settlements, offering concealed ground lines of communication for Ukrainian troops. Furthermore, the location is strategically beneficial due to its clear lines of fire, forcing any counterattacking Russian units into predictable and lethal kill zones, or right out into open fields. All this means that should Russian commanders decide to retake this forest patch, guarding the far eastern flank of Tyotkino, they would have to expend considerable resources, troops, time, and armor to retake it, only to find Ukrainian forces will have likely withdrawn before succumbing to bombardments, effectively forcing Russia to destroy a potential staging ground. Overall, this operation, conducted by Colombian volunteers, exemplifies Ukraine's broader strategic intent along the Sumy-Kursk border region. Ukrainian forces carry out numerous such raids, continuously forcing Russia to allocate resources over a larger area, which in cumulative effect significantly delays enemy operations and drains their offensive capabilities. Collectively, these actions ensure that Russian forces remain bogged down, unable to effectively support or expand their ambitions against Sumy, thereby safeguarding critical Ukrainian positions and significantly undermining Russia's objectives.